Ryan Garcia makes claims of a prophetic gift to George Janko live on Instagram, and George Janko, rightfully so, pushes back. All right, so if you guys haven't been keeping up with this entire saga, George Janko, one of my favorite podcasts out right now, he's been crushing it. Ryan Garcia, who's been on George's podcast, been on Logan Paul's podcast, has a big fight coming up April 20th, and has been going through it publicly. He came out, made statements that he was raped as a child, and then somewhere along the process was forced to look at child porn. And a lot of people were like, well, hey man, where is the evidence? And he shifted about talking about this cabal and they to kind of taking the position of like Sound of Freedom. We're going to fight all. Yes, which everyone is against that. Yeah. That's bad. We all hate people that traffic people. Bad, bad, bad. But he kind of pivoted away from his own story that he was going to come out with receipts and details for. And then even in this conversation, George is asking him specific details about this specific thing. And Ryan's just going through it. There's another video of him recently crying on live. He's playing Oceans. He's praying for people. And he really seems conflicted. He's been popping up in the church, but he really seems conflicted. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this is a mental health thing. I don't know if this is some sort of psychosis from too much cannabis consumption, which I think he should stop, especially if there's any remnants of mental illness in his family. I don't know if it's alcohol. I don't know if it's a combination of the two. I don't know, but it definitely has some yay vibes to all of it. And I'm grateful that he's clutching on to Jesus. But what happens in this clip is really sad. Again, major props to George for the way he handles this. But this is a bummer.
In the nighttime, he tells me the massage at the time was my fiance and newborn baby.
There's a whole mess of a situation with his newborn baby and his ex now, who allegedly he left a day after she gave birth. Ugh. So there's a lot of questionable. I know you guys love to hear like the juicy details of the cabal and the Matrix. Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's something going on with this dude, from his personal life to just the way he's behaving. Someone did a video analysis on just the way his face has been puffy in contrast to how he looked when he was on George Janko's podcast, when he was on Logan Paul's podcast, when he was, And so there's unfortunately something going on with Ryan. And I'm glad that guys like George have his ear and PBD got his ear. Like, that's a massive W.
As I was massaging Andrea, she kept on getting the chills nonstop. Like she said, every time I touched her, she got chills. And then all he did was tell me was, tap your baby with your finger. Boom, knocked out all night. Everybody who knows, if you have a newborn baby, they always wake up at night, always. So after that, God literally was teaching me how to cleanse myself. I took a shower and I knew things that I never knew before. Then after that, I was praying in the spirit and I was reading the Bible, and then boom, it comes in and it goes, go to Samuel one time. And I get the chills. And I start going, yeah, I don't do cocaine. I already showed you guys. I don't see. Now you're disrespecting testimony of my time with Jesus. And that is a big issue because I'm only talking the truth.
Stop telling this man that he's doing. That's not helping. He doesn't need to be doing hard drugs to be behaving this way, right? This does not help him. So the audience that's egging him on and saying this, you are not making this any better. He's probably not doing drugs. He's smoking weed. He's drinking alcohol. And I don't think he's getting enough sleep.
And I'm lying. You know the power of the Holy Spirit. I would be dead on the spot. You know that. You know that. I would be dead. If I'm lying, God, strike me down right now. See, exactly. I'm not going to die because I'm telling the truth. At the end of the day, it goes with exclamation marks. I start tripping. I said, it got to be, because at the time I wasn't drinking at all. At the time I was sober completely off of nothing for over a year.
And that's when he seemed to be very clear. That's when he seemed to be very precise with his language. If you watch him on that Logan Paul episode, you watch him with George Janko, and I'm not saying he was like perfect, like he was still using profanity and that kind of stuff, but he was a total different predisposition to his personality and the way he was carrying himself.
100%.
So I don't. This persona does not seem like him from the limited access I've had to his interviews and the way he carries himself on social media. So I don't know what's going on, but maybe he needs to just go back to being sober. And I don't know how you're 5 weeks out from a fight talking about I'd smoke weed and drink alcohol.
That's not good.
That's crazy.
We came again. Go to Samuel with a thumbs up. After that, it was 3 times. After 3 times, I knew it was God.
And are you talking about Samuel, the prophet Samuel?
Yes, he said go to the book of Samuel. So
And
I
then what did
go.
you find in the book of Samuel?
It said exactly this. And he was called, Samuel was called exactly where he usually laid. I was laying down exactly where I usually laid. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it also said he was called 3 times. 3 times. I was called 3 times. So I knew the Lord was speaking to me. And I said, Lord, I'm here. I'm here to listen. I'm your servant. I'm here to listen. And after that, I went into a trance, almost like Paul says. I don't know if I was in my body or out my body. I have no idea.
Mind you, he said this happened to him when he was sober. So I'm not denying that he could have had this experience and maybe something happened. Clearly, he's not sober now. He's telling you, I smoke weed, I drink alcohol 5 weeks out from a fight. So I'm not even taking away that maybe when he was sober, God maybe spoke to him in a very specific way and gave him a different kind of spiritual gift. I don't know. Like it wouldn't be impossible. Now, what he's going to say next and what he's about to do next is not whatever happened initially. What he's going to do next, and George Janko, rightfully so, pushing back, it's just a bummer. Go ahead.
The calling 3 times. You're sober for a year.
Yes.
You're laying in rest in the same way that Samuel's laying in rest. Okay, let's pin it there. I'm following you. I'm understanding everything you're saying.
Thank you.
Now, to circle back, you said when you...
George is trying to get the answers we all want.
And he's concise. He knows how to communicate with the dude too.
I was watching this live on Instagram when this was going on. Did the audio really cut out? Like, no one edited. This really happened, and it happened live. And so, shout out to George. Go ahead.
You were saying that you were molested at the age of 2,
Yes.
and I'm so sorry you had to deal with this type of life. But if you don't mind me asking, when did you find this out? Did you remember when you were 2, or did somebody inform you this afterwards? Like, where did this
I'll give you an
situation come from?
example. I could tell you things only you know within 5 questions.
George asked him a very specific question. You made a claim that they raped you when you were 2, and then they, the cabal, the Illuminati, whoever, forced you to watch the same type of content. George asked him a very pointed question because that's what people want to know. That's what you said. This is the claims you made. And he changes the conversation and goes, I can tell you something only you could know if you answer 5 questions. And then listen to what he goes on to do. I don't know where he got this from. I don't know if he just listened to one too many Bill Johnson sermons from Bethel. Kenneth Copeland. Like, this is not what charismatics believe. This is not how we navigate. This is not something you could take a course in. This is nonsensical what's about to happen next.
If you give me 5 questions, I can tell you something about yourself that only you know.
You want me to give you 5 questions?
If you let me ask you 5 questions,
Yeah.
I could tell you something that only you know. If you really want it,
Okay.
you have to accept it.
I accept it.
How long have you been with your girlfriend?
4 years.
Do you ever struggle with jealousy?
Absolutely.
That come from a prior experience with her.
Does it come... Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you talking about jealousy with her or just in general?
Because now if I ask another question, that counts as my 4th. Is this counting as another question?
No, that's not a part of your question.
This man thinks George Janko is a genie. He's covering his bases.
I was just trying to clarify the second one. The jealousy,
So the
I get
second one
jealous
was-
of like a
Does
natural
your
jealousy.
jealousy come from anything she's done from the past as well?
Oh, no. Thank God, no.
Okay. Have you ever felt like she might have been cheating on you?
Thank God, no.
That's 3 questions, correct?
George found him a wifey, man. She a good girl.
Yeah.
Shout out to George. Go ahead.
Yeah, Ryan Garcia shook because he was trying to go down the cheating route.
Yeah. I don't know where he was trying to go.
Have you guys healed from a previous relationship?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm
Does make
feeling grandma. How's your grandma doing?
My grandma, right now, she could be doing better.
How did I know this?
Generally, people's grandmothers are
No.
always doing better.
Oh, George. George is like, well, generally people's grandmothers aren't doing well.
This man's previous questions had nothing to do with where he landed. He said, I'm feeling grandma. I'm feeling grandma. and then he says, how's her health? And he says, she could be doing better. How did I know that? You didn't make a guess. There was no prophecy.
All
there
you
was no
said
guess.
was grandma, bro.
Me and Chris are watching this, and we're like, yeah, grandmas are old. And I said, yeah, honestly, my grandma's going through a lot of health issues right now, and it's bad. And Chris is like, yeah, my grandma's about to get surgery. And we're like, boom, 2 people just sitting. We're like, yeah, grandma's not doing the best.
How did Ryan know that about you guys?
Oh my God.
Play the rest of it. Now, the way George handles this is amazing. And Ryan and him went back and forth on Twitter, and George kept trying to take the conversation private, and he kind of fired off on him on Twitter after this whole debacle.
How did I know something was going on with your grandma? That's the fifth question.
Okay. So are you saying you're prophesying?
Yes, I am. I know what's happening to your grandma. I know she's going through something. How do I know this? Ask yourself this question. How do I know? Have you ever told me your grandma's going through something?
Realistically, that's a pretty like general.
No.
Like usually,
Have you?
99% of grandmas are not doing well.
No, that's not true. There's many old women that are actually doing great. I have a 98-year-old grandma, or 90. She's in her 90s, and she's doing perfectly fine.
Oh, God bless her.
So that's not necessarily true. How do I know this? Is it cancer?
Are you claiming that God gave you this?
I'm just saying, is it cancer? All I'm asking is it cancer?
Oh no, it's not cancer.
Okay, is it a sickness?
It's just her getting to her age. She's getting to her time.
Yeah, but this is what I'm talking about. So at the end of the day, I never even knew your grandma. I didn't know anything. I just know things in my spirit. So when you're so confident in the spirit, I walk in the spirit. I don't care what anybody says. They can say what they want. All my people can literally vouch for me. That's why they stick by my side, because they've seen a lot of miracles that I've done in front of them. There was a time I literally hit 4 times in a row on roulette, $250,000.
So then he starts talking about God gives him
Gambling powers.
gambling powers.
Code of gambling. I would actually be profitable in Aria. I'm actually the top 5 most profitable gambler of all time, and I would have done it more. But the thing is, I tip over $700,000 in Aria. They said if you didn't tip so much, you would have been up millions. But I don't, because I don't care about money. See, because I don't love money, money love me.
We'll wrap up on this, man. So listen, multiple things can be true at once. It could be true that something happened to him as a child, which is awful, and he needs treatment for that. He needs healing for that. Mm-hmm. He may need deliverance. Maybe that caused something spiritual to happen to him. That can be true. His assessment about the Bohemian Grove, which is fairly well documented, is some weird stuff going on. And this stuff's been going on. People been into the weirdo occult stuff. Like, this isn't new stuff. The Marx, a lot of the folks from the 18th century, 19th, they've been into the occult stuff. That could be true. It can be true that at one point when he was clean and sober, perhaps God was revealing himself to him in a different way. But what we cannot ignore is that because he may be right about the Bohemian Grove situation, that he's clearly going through something. Where there's smoke, there's usually fire. He's telling you, he's playing this prophecy game with George, saying very vague things. He's then turning around and telling you God gave him gambling powers. There's also the question of, why did you divorce your fiance, wife, baby mama, whoever she was? I think he was married to her right upon her giving birth. Like, there's enough smoke there that something is off with Ryan. And that's the part where I think people are doing more harm than good. The critics who are saying, why are you doing? You're doing more harm than good. And the people that are enabling this stuff and saying he's spot on, the Matrix is coming after him, the way they came after Andrew Tate, you guys are doing way more harm than good with someone that definitely needs your prayers right now, and probably, and this is me preaching to us, he needs our prayers and probably does not need our attention. Because he said in this same video that God told him he was going to win on April 20th. There's almost a question if the fight's even going to happen April 20th.
Yeah.
On top of which, all my boxing connoisseurs are like, it is very unlikely that this dude's going to win this fight. Very unlikely that he's going to win this fight.
So if he wins the fight, then...
Yeah, then maybe God's speaking to him. But he lost his last fight with a devastating body blow. And I don't know if he said the same thing back then, but that was a pretty devastating blow to him in terms of his career. Did you find his Twitter? So this is George. He said, I love you, bro, but we talked about us talking and going through your evidence. I never disagreed with you. And George is being very reasonable here. George is being very reasonable. George is being a good bro to this dude. The fact that evil existed, let me know when you can talk in person. We can keep it private or public. I'm here as someone who trusts and loves you. I want to see you succeed, and I'm here for whatever you need. Okay, so Ryan, this is in response to Ryan putting him in a group text with evidence. Now, this group text probably has all kinds of crazy stuff in it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. We're not denying that there's evil out there and people doing terrible things and trafficking kids.
It's going to be like Twitter during the October 7th Hamas raid.
Right. That's not, no one's disputing that. What we're disputing is the claims you're making, or rather how you're making them and the conclusions you're coming to. So forget the kids that have gone through this and are going through this now, totally discrediting what's happening to the kids, focusing on what happened to me. I know I got raped at 2. I know things happened to me. I don't have to show you this ish. There is stuff happening to kids going on right now that needs to be addressed, and I put you in the group chat so you can see such evil exist in the world. Who is saying such evil doesn't exist in the world?
Yeah.
We just had the Sound of Freedom that showed how brutal this stuff is. I didn't go see Sound of Freedom because I've been in these circles with these nonprofit organizations doing this work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I've been with folks that are Navy SEALs and special agents, special forces going in and rescuing kids. You check out my conversation with Remy, the Navy SEAL that we had on. So most of us know that this stuff exists, but you throw George in a group text and y'all sharing gruesome stuff. That's not George's point. Whether you believe it or not, again, we all believe it exists. I love you, but I take this a little offensive because I put you in a group chat with a really credible person who is in the front lines with this. If you cared about me, you would want to join this fight with me. So now he's making himself out to be a martyr instead of acknowledging that something's off with him. Something is off with him. We have to be careful not to entertain the foolishness that gets backdoored with some of this stuff. Just because trafficking exists, does not mean that there's a cabal of lizard people who are sucking the blood of babies and it's happening in the open. And if you don't say exactly what Ryan needs you to say, then you are part of the problem.
Yeah.
This is gaslighting. This is gaslighting on the most obvious thing. And so again, I don't know what's going on with Ryan. I'm doing this as more of a way to go, George. George did a great job handling this. Well done. But do we just stop paying attention to him? How do we navigate this stuff? Because people are being persuaded into additional goofiness and a framework and a worldview that is so distorted that they then become debilitated because of the stuff that Ryan's saying. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Crazy. Guys, we got the new Death to Life collection coming next week, Monday through Sunday only. This is one of the pieces. Death to Life, John 5:24. Ruslan's also wearing the new vintage Bless God logo on the Comfort Colors blank. Some super sick colorways. Some of the first times that we're bringing out the long sleeve tees, some fire hoodies, some cool Living to Bless God designs. Death to Life on a few different pieces, hoodies and sweatshirts. You're going to love it. So stay tuned for next week. Go to blessgod.shop. Put your email in the little thing, get 10% off, and be the first to hear about the sale, get access to it. But it's going to be gone. Monday through Sunday, you can get this collection, and then it's going to be gone. Mark your calendars. Make sure you're there. blessgod.shop.